Hi, within this interview we're discussing nervousness, particularly within the moment before writing or doing a video interview as Flog. So the writing within either the blogging or the forum, and video interview in relation to putting yourself out there, visibly communicating and expressing and participating with and as everyone else. So let us have a look at the nature of this nervousness. Now, the nervousness that I'm particularly looking at here is the one where the nervousness is actually a mini adrenaline rush of and as fear. That surge through and as the physical from the solar plexus into the chest, which feels like this slight cold rush, like creeping upwards, which cause one's intestines to contract and one's throat to close. So it's actually nervousness as fear, wherein it's like a sudden moment that this physical experience of nervosity as fear overwhelm you, and in that one almost also hit a blank within oneself, and there's nothingness, like a complete momentary mind wipe that manifests as self in that moment, and one cannot find a starting point in relation to the point that you wanted to initially discuss or reveal or expose or draw out or open up through writing or speaking. And then what that causes is a compounding effect of an as fear, because you've hit a blank and you're now stuck in this moment, in this energy, and you initially had a line of discussion or the whole pattern or the structure of and as the point within self, and all it basically required was now you to basically write it out or speak it out. But the moment you sit and you're here and you're ready, this mini adrenaline rush of and as fear overwhelm you suddenly, unexpectedly. Your intestines contract, your throat close, it moves upward into your mind, brain area, and there's just nothingness, blank, and your eyes widen and you're like, what now? Alright, so in terms of what is being faced here within this particular specific context, I mean, obviously in terms of who you are and where you are and how you are within your process, in relation to your life experience within your past, you will face many layers or dimensions of and as this point of nervousness as fear within facing a point as self within blogging or flogging. However, in having a look at this particular specific point is like the ultimate point of self-exposure, where you're absolutely walking into the unknown, meaning understand that in terms of our reality injection within our worlds, we function through relationships, meaning within the relationships that we have with what and who exists in our world and our reality, we know where we stand, so to speak, because we are the starting point creators of the relationship connections as ties that form or manifest the multidimensional interconnected network within and through which we function, participate, and interact as a starting point of and as our mind consciousness system. However, here you're facing literally only you. You're here in front of the camera or in front of this piece of paper. There are no relationship connections towards anything or anyone in this very moment but you yourself. So there's no point of, for example, self-reference, so to speak, where you can like filter through your programs as personality platforms or codes and symbols within your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind in relation to how you must be and behave in thought, word, and deed, where you have those 3 points that have to like form a unit within and through which you become the thought, word, and deed. And so you can instantaneously upgrade yourself in terms of successfully interacting, maneuvering, and functioning within and as your maintained multidimensional relationships in your world and your reality, to so survive as your manifested ego of personalities, as your mind, consciousness system. So here you literally only have you, yourself, your own thought, words, and deeds, and your own reflection is you yourself as you face you in front of this page or in front of this camera. And that reflection towards only self is what causes that momentary blankness that one go into, where the mind consciousness system throws you a curveball in terms of shutting you down for a moment, like saying there's no relationship connections to which I can extend my influence to be able to extract the required multidimensional interconnectedness in which to upgrade my programming as personality within thought, word, and deed to manifest a persona or portrayal of who and how and what I must be in this moment. It's now basically only self and self alone, here with self and everything that is existent within and as self. So it's like the ultimate moment of being here with self and self alone, literally walking into and as the unknown. And this is also the particular specific practical support and assistance within writing as blogging and doing video interviews as flogging, because you're literally here with only yourself. You've got the reflection of only you yourself here within this moment that you're with yourself. So when you experience that sudden rush of adrenaline, as fear, as nervousness emerging within you, and you feel your mind going blank, either before doing a video interview or before writing and facing yourself within written word and spoken word, is to breathe. What I find effective is to then, when that happens, is to write down the structure of the points, like write down main words or short sentences, so that I have the blueprint structure here right before me. And then I start writing out the point in specificity and detail from those side notes that I had made. And then as you continue practicing that and applying that meaning, wherein you would also, for example, sometimes even during or halfway or almost to the end, kind of lose yourself within the whole point that you're opening up. Because I mean, even if you have a look at your writings and your video interviews, it's multidimensional. I mean, there's many points that open up simultaneously. However, to assist and support yourself to remain here within one particular specific point as the main point, as the main source of and as the network that you're busy opening up, is to do the basic side notes. You know, you write down the whole pattern and structure of this point that you're facing, and then within your total writing of the point, as the total layout with its substance and its nature and its whole manifested design as it exists, you then ensure that you stick to and remain within that particular specific point of discussion. And I mean, if further points open up within that, have further side notes in making notes for yourself, in assisting and supporting yourself to remember to also then further go into or look at those points. And so within that, you ensure that you remain structured, you remain here, and you remain specific within and as your writings. And eventually, the more you practice that from your side notes as the initial structure, and then the totality of the entire layout of the point, the walking of and as a point as self, from beginning to middle to end, to the encircling, to the diagonal, to the horizontal, to the vertical, to the shifts, to the multidimensionals, you'll be able to then take on a point as you without requiring the side notes, because you're walking it as yourself here. So it's a point that requires practice, wherein you stay here with a point as a point and you walk it through as self, with initially only starting with a side note structure to make sure that you remain within the point, and then your additional side notes to walk through or take on more points that open up within those points. And so we start deconstructing and disentangling ourselves from the relationship constructs and networks of and as the mind consciousness system we've separated ourselves into and as, to stabilize ourselves here within our walking and participating and living within and as our physical equal and one. And the same goes for flogging as well, meaning if you find that beforehand or even during your flogs you kind of lose yourself within the whole discussion and the initial point, make side notes for yourself. First, write out the basic structure for yourself, and then just go over it, and then you breathe and you do your video interview. Obviously it won't go exactly as you've written it. It's merely a guideline for yourself as a practical reality walk to walk with for yourself, to remain here as a point. And eventually, as you practice that in more and more and more, you'll be able to do it immediately here and take a point and walk it through its total multidimensional manifestation as self here. Like for example, this point of facing self within it all, and within writing as blogging and video interviews as flogging, and some of the main aspects or parts within that self can consider that we're discussing within this video interview. So here then, support and assistance as perspective in relation to that nervosity that one experienced before writing and video interviews, and what it is that you're actually facing as the fear of self-exposure, also within one's world and one's reality, because you've got no idea what your actual feedback is going to be, because the point that you're actually accessing as well within your writings and your video interviews are self-intimacy points that you are opening up and revealing here before you that you've never done before. So from that perspective, one's experience is also intimidating because of walking into the unknown from that perspective that you don't know what your feedback is going to be. And we're usually dependent on knowing or having a precognition of what our feedback is going to be within our world and our reality, and that's how we accordingly shape and mold our personality and behavior through thoughts, words and deeds within and as the mind consciousness system. However, here within writing as blogging and video interviews as vlogging, you don't have that point of reference for yourself. You literally are only here with a blank page and a camera in front of yourself. So totally alone, facing these internal points of self-intimacy that one hasn't yet accepted and allowed oneself to see or consider or actually face. So all in all, it's quite a challenging experience facing self within these points, though beneficial in terms of moving self to actually get self, to get to know who you are here within and as self, which is structurally effectively done through writing and then eventually through flogging as video interviews. Alright, so just these points to take into consideration when you experience blankness within or before writing or doing vlogs, to make your notes structured for yourself and then accordingly you walk it. Not strictly, it's simply guidelines. Otherwise, if you try and stick to the strictness of your notes and the structure that you wrote it in, then you're just going to create more anxieties because you're not sticking with the structure and staying with a particular specific strict line of design that you pre-placed before you, and that creates another unnecessary experience of reaction. So just place your guideline structure for you next to yourself in your writings and your video interviews, just to initially assist and support you through that nervousness, nothingness, blank slate moments that we tend to experience or go into because of accepted and allowed fear in relation to the unknown that we're about to face as ourself. And then within that, enjoy yourself. I mean, it's really fascinating when one starts seeing, realizing, understanding what we've accepted and allowed, and really how simple it is to stop, stand up, and change. Thank you.